friends, welcome to one of our craft videos. Today we will be making a fall wreath, and we're going to start by using a coat hanger and bending it to a circle type shape. I mean, I suppose if you wanted a square wreath you could do that, but we're just going to bend and shape our coat hanger. It doesn't have to be perfectly round if that's the shape you're going for, but a semblance of a circle would be great. The items on the wreath will certainly help shape it and turn it into what you're looking for. So once you've got a shape that you are happy with, we're going to take some burlap strips. They're about 1 inch wide and anywhere from 6 to 8 inches long, depending on how frilly you want the wreath to be. And you can put this on one of two ways. You can just wrap it on and tie a knot. You don't have to tie a complete knot, but just like so. And you do want to be careful if you've trimmed your burlap too thin, too narrow, you can totally rip it into pieces. So that's one way to tie on your burlap. Another way is to take your piece and just bring the two, like loop it, and then bring your ends through the loop, and then pull and tighten, and that will give you another way. And it depends on the look you're going for. As you can see, this look, both of my ends to my knot are facing the same direction. This one, they're kind of sprayed out everywhere. So depending on the look you're looking for, you can continue on. And I will continue tying. I'm going to go with this because I think it makes a nice full wreath, where this one is kind of flat looking and doesn't have a lot of dimension to it. And that's my personal preference, but you go ahead and do the wreath the way that works best for you. And if you don't have a coat hanger, some things you could consider trying perhaps are an embroidery hoop. If you have something like an oatmeal container, you could cut a strip, out of the oatmeal container, so it's like a 1/2 inch or 1 inch of the container itself to give you a round circle. It would be a smaller wreath, but that would be doable. Or if you have something, I can't think of another container that would be cardboard that you could cut easy enough. But those are some options for you, or if you have a wreath form, that works too. But I think most people have coat hangers in their closet. So I will continue tying these, and we'll get back to the next step. So I have tied all of my pieces on, and you can see it's rather messy. I've got strings everywhere, and I like it. I don't mind that, but if you do not like it, you certainly could trim your little flyaways, take your scissors and trim them down. But I kind of like the way it looks, so I'm just going to leave it and move on to the next step. So let's see. The next step would be taking a wood slice, and I just had my husband cut this from a limb in the yard, and we're going to turn this into an owl. And so I went ahead and trimmed some felt to shape like the wings and some eyes. I have two, and I just cut the felt together, so I only had to cut once, but I have two big parts of the owl's eyes. These pieces are a little over 2 inches wide, but you can make yours any size because your wood will be a different size. And then I went with the white circles after, and then I wanted to add some blue, so I made another smaller circle and then the black pupil. But you could certainly just go with the brown and the white and do an eye like so, whatever you like. So we're going to start by gluing the wings down on our wood slice. And I'm using hot glue, but you certainly can use whatever glue that works for you. Okay, I have my wings on my wood slice for my owl. And now I'm going to take the eyes and I'm just going to stick them on here above the wings, the brown in both spots. Again with my hot glue. And I chose to go with brown. That doesn't mean you have to use brown. If you want a different color, that's great. Go for it. So there's my brown eyes. And now I'm going to take the whites and add them, and I'm going to do kind of in the middle, bring the white to the edge here and leave the outside, because I don't know, that just seems to me to be how the owl's eyes look. Okay, there we have the whites. And like I said, you could just go ahead and add the black if you'd like that look. But I'm going to go ahead and add the blue and then the black. So you kind of get a feel for the different colors there. Okay, but you do whatever works for you. And maybe you don't want your owl to be brown with blue eyes. Maybe you want your owl to be purple with green eyes. You can do whatever works for you. And now I will add the black. Okay, so now that we have the eyes done, we're just going to add a beak, and I'm just going to take and glue a little orange triangle onto the owl there, right between his eyeballs. There we go. So now we have the owl, and now we want to attach him to our wreath. And let's see. In order to do that, I'm going to use a couple of craft sticks. A larger craft stick may have been a better choice, but this is what I had, so this is what I'm using. And I want to glue them onto the back. I don't want them to show, and I don't really need them as long as they are because my wood is a little bit smaller than the stick. But I do need probably about a ½ inch. So this is what we will use to attach the owl to the wreath. So I'm just going to take the scissors and cut a little bit off of the craft stick. And you can use the two together, or you could space them out a little. It doesn't really matter. But we're just going to put it on the back and kind of glue them like so. So they have just a little bit sticking out to attach them to our wreath, okay? All right, he's glued on, and now I'm going to take my wreath and I'm just going to glue his little popsicle sticks onto the bottom of the wreath because I want my owl to be kind of down at the bottom. So I am going to glue him on there with his little feet. All right, I'm not going to pick it up just yet because it's, well, I guess I can pick it up and hold it. It is going to be wobbly. It's not going to hold it perfectly yet, but you can see he's on there. Okay. See, like I said, he's a little wobbly still. But now I am going to take a stick and I am going to put it across the bottom of my wreath, kind of like so. Okay, oops. Put this across the bottom of my wreath and glue the owl onto that as well, and glue the stick to the wreath too, so kind of both things. So first we'll glue the stick on. And it doesn't matter how big your stick is. You might have a branch that's got some twigs hanging off of it as well, and that would look really awesome. But this is what I had, so this is what I'm using. It's not too tree-like for my poor owl. He's only got the one little stick. And I'm just gonna stick some glue in there to kind of fill in the gap and hold him in. So if you wanted, you could add a couple of more popsicle sticks so that it's also on the back of the wreath, like so. Just you'd have to trim it down, so that would give a little more stability too. And I think I'm actually going to do that. So I'm going to trim some of this off because he seems a little floppy. Not exactly how I envisioned it. So I'm going to add a little glue to the back here. There, I put a couple extra popsicle sticks to give it a little more stability in the back as well. So now I would like, I mean, you could certainly be done if you like the way he is, but I would like to add some leaves to the twig area and on the wreath a little, just to give it a little more color, because everything's kind of beige and brown, which is very typical of the fall colors, but I do like a little more color. And I had this green material, so that's what I'm using, but maybe you have some actual artificial leaves you could put on. You could even try maybe some bay leaves. If you wanted to make your foliage different colors for the fall, you could certainly go with some orange and red and yellow leaves. And I'm just going to take my fabric is cut, you know, there's the two pieces, my fabric's folded over. So I'm going to cut two pieces at once, and I'm not measuring, I'm not using a template, I'm just making what I think is a leaf shape. And you can certainly do whatever you like. And then I'm just going to take and glue some of this on to my wreath to make it look like my owl's on a tree branch. So there it is. I've glued some more leaves on, and I think he looks pretty happy and content in his little perch. I'd love to see photos of your wreath if you are adventurous and want to give it a whirl. You can send any photos to the library at info@killinglypl.org. And I look forward to catching you in another one of our craft videos. Have a great day.